Hi everyone, it's me, Arielle, and it's Wednesday Warriors. Today we're going to be starting a new rotation. It's a 4-week rotation, and week 1 is basically what to do when elements of your care, treatment, counseling, etc. are out of your control due to cost, insurance, parental influence, referrals, etc. And the reason that I want to talk about this is because I did a video last week that I'll refer you to that I just basically called Change in all capital letters. And in that video, I talked about things that we can change in our lives and how to do change. And then I also talked about the things that we cannot change and how to learn to accept the things we can't, but how to work with them. And I think that this is a prime example. A lot of the time where finances are concerned, things are out of our control, and we may want help or we may want better help, but we're not able to get it. And I think especially this happens when parents are concerned because we have to. We're essentially using their finances, or sometimes, even though we may be willing to tell our parents what's going on with us, some parents are not as understanding, and some parents don't have the means or the capabilities to comprehend the situation, to realize that certain help is warranted, and to be able to provide that help. And this is no fault of yours if you are under the age of 18, but even if you are an adult, there may be a lot of obstacles in your way when you're trying to get help. And again, it's through no fault of your own. I'm going to try to talk about America because I know that since this topic will be covered by some of my counterparts on different days of the week, they are from other places and they can talk about different countries. But my personal standpoint and expertise is going to lie within the United States. And I think a lot of the time, we don't have as long of waiting lists as other countries, which is a really, really good thing. We do have a lot of criteria-based programs where people have to be below a certain weight or they have to meet other criteria. And of course, the cost is huge. I did a video not that long ago where I said that I think the average cost of inpatient eating disorder treatment, residential treatment in the United States for 1 month is $30,000, and that's just for 1 month. So basically what that is $1,000 a day if you're talking about there being 30 days in a month. That's a staggering amount of money because that's for a very, very short amount of time, and clearly people need help for eating disorders longer than 1 month, even if it isn't for residential inpatient treatment. So therein lies the question. What are you to do when elements of your treatment and of your care plans are out of your control? There's always things that you can do for yourself. I think it's important to remember the value of support because even though support can't cure you and can't make you recover, it can very much so help you recover. And having a good support system is so key to being able to live your everyday life with the right attitude. If you're surrounding yourself with positive things and positive influences, you're going to have a more positive experience and a more positive daily life. So I'm going to post a video about the importance of support. I'm also going to post a video about what helpful support really is, and this would be more where you could direct people in your life if they're trying to figure out how they can support you and what that really means. The big issue here in the United States is insurance. We all have very different insurance. Some of us are denied insurance because of pre-existing conditions like eating disorders, and especially where insurance is concerned, you're going to have to pay out of pocket for eating disorder treatment or counseling. You may have to pay part of the cost. You may have very high copays. It's going to differ with every person, every situation, every type of coverage that there is. There are so many different insurance companies. And this can be a real roadblock. When you're trying to get help, you may be offered help, but the cost that you might have to pay could be just completely beyond what you have the means to do, and therefore it's out of your control. So you're not going to be able to go ahead and accept the help that you might want to accept, but there are some things that you can do. First thing you can do is fight the insurance company. It may not get you anywhere. It may get you a phone call that will only be a headache, but at least you can say that you tried, and you never know what can happen. I mean, you can write letters, you can make phone calls, you can get doctors or other medical professionals in your court to make phone calls and write letters, or at least sign off on letters with you. Just see where you can get with it, and if anything, the more people that are speaking up about certain things, the better it is, because while it may not help you, it may do something in the future. You can also write to your congressman or congresswoman, and that can really be a huge important step, because just like writing letters to your specific insurance company to help you, these people have the ability to suggest laws and bills and acts that can really benefit people with mental health issues and eating disorders specifically. There's something called the Mental Health Parity Act and also an Addiction Equity Act. And I'm going to post the links in the info box to websites that can better explain what this is and what this means for you. There are certain numbers that you can call for help with things like this, but basically what this federal law is it means that mental health conditions have to be treated the same as physical health conditions, and if they are not being given the same consideration, then the law is not being followed. There's a really good organization here in the U.S. Called AIR, A-I-R, stands for Assistance in Recovery. And what they do is make themselves available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at a 1-800 number to basically help you find places that can provide you with help based on your insurance and location and other sort of situational factors. And they will help you with recovery support and interventions and things as well. I mean, this is for all addictions, but they do have a lot of eating disorder resources, and it's good because you actually get to talk to a human being. You don't have to do a lot of searching yourself on the internet. But they do have a page that I'm going to specifically direct you to in the info box called Addiction and Mental Health Parity Explained. And they go into more explanation of what the mental health parity laws are. They went into effect in October of 2009, and it just sort of explains it to you in layman's terms so that you know what's out there and you know what you're entitled to and you know what you can do if you're not gaining access to the resources that you really need. I personally think that there aren't enough resources for people that don't have the funds to get specific help. But there are a lot of resources out there, and sometimes it's just a matter of knowing how to find them. So I want to make as many available to you as I possibly can. And for anyone who is living in Pennsylvania, if you want to email me directly, I am an ANAD, A-N-A-D, anorexia nervosa and associated disorders resource person, which means you can call me or email me, and I will gladly help give you resources that I know from my area, which is Lehigh Valley. If you live in Pennsylvania, you're probably familiar or have heard of the Lehigh Valley area. It's a pretty large area. And I can help you with counseling resources, treatment resources, all the things that I have at my fingertips. I can't promise it will be everything or it will be things that will necessarily help you in your situation, but I do have a lot of really good resources, including nutritionist and dietitian information, counseling information, eating disorder specialists, and other hospitalization, treatment, inpatient programs. The number one thing that I want to say about this topic is use your voice. If you feel you're being treated unfairly, or if you are desperate for help but simply cannot get the help you need due to insurance denials or simply just how much money you make, keep Googling and keep calling places and explain your situation and see where they can direct you and try to get help, because there is help out there. And I know that there are special assistances for people that make under certain income guidelines. There are so many things that you may not know about. So don't give up if you're told that you can't get treatment because you don't have enough money, don't have the proper insurance, don't live in a specific area, or any sort of things like that. Not everyone does this, but a lot of eating disorder therapists, if you don't need to go the inpatient route and you're just going to do private counseling, a lot of eating disorder specialists do sliding scale fees, which means if you are in a tough spot or you don't have enough money to pay out of pocket what the entire price would be, depending on what your income is, if you can provide the proper information, they will do a sliding scale for you, which means you won't have to pay the same amount of money that someone else might be able to afford. As I said, not everyone does this, but it's always worth asking. And I think, especially given the recession, many people are able to help others out in that way. And if they are licensed social workers, typically they recognize that they have the obligation to help people despite income and what kind of money can be provided to a point. Last but not least, I'm going to post a couple of links to videos I've done in regards to parents. There are so many parents out there who are really more understanding than their eating disordered children and teenagers give them credit for. And I think a lot of that has to do with fear that the parents won't understand 100%. And even if they don't understand 100%, it doesn't mean that they can't help you and aren't willing to help you. And this fear can just be really detrimental because it keeps you from speaking up. It keeps you from explaining what kind of help you could benefit from, what kind of help you'd be willing to give yourself and put yourself through. I think as many people as you can have in your corner, the better off you're going to be. Sometimes this means parents, sometimes it doesn't. I won't pretend to know anyone's particular situation, and I know some people have families that are more of a problem in regards to their eating disorders than they are help. But I did make a couple of videos on a bunch of different topics regarding parents and when parents are involved, and what to do to either talk to them about the issues or just how to get the help you need and how to get the right kinds of support. Don't give up. It might be a frustrating time, and certainly there aren't enough services available and not enough funds available, but it doesn't mean that you're not deserving of help if you are turned away for some kind of reason regarding cost, insurance, or criteria. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time.